Heels, thanks for joining us for another SANFL report. We saw a number of games this week that were very one-sided. Is it hard to assess how a player goes when he is on a losing side, like the Glenelg boys were this weekend?
Yeah, I'd say if anything we err, and we probably are too lenient on them too lenient in that scenario because we say, oh, they're in a losing side, but the reality is someone still can play well. And Hitchy's probably a prime example. This week he still kicked 4 goals and had 27 possessions in a losing side, and Sal was pretty serviceable as well, Stephen Salopek. So, yeah, it's a bit of a cop-out to say, oh, we're in a poor side. So sometimes as a leading forward that can be difficult, but yeah, the reality is the side who gets beaten still has 40% at least to the footy, so there's still opportunities for you to play well. Conversely, in a side that plays well, sometimes blokes can be their form can be overinflated, perhaps possibly because it's an easier performance, but we try and stay as level-headed as we can with that.
The Magpies had a good win on the weekend, and it looked like Mitch Banner and Jacob Surgeon were right in amongst it in the midfield. Yeah,
Mitch has just been really solid for a month, and his work on in more intensity in the defensive stuff and just change of speed and when he's got it and when he hasn't got the footy, he showed up in his GPS numbers, and he's really responding to our feedback, and as a result he's playing some really solid footy, and he was high up. And Jacob Surgeon, similarly, we wanted to see more of the grunt from Surge that we've come to know over the years around stoppage and his intensity, and pleasingly it was better as well.
We also saw Daniel Bass play his, I think it was his second league game for South Adelaide. He's a big boy, and having just had one player retire who was a former basketballer, do you allow that development time to come in through Bassie? I mean, this is only his second year in the system.
Yeah, and I think with anyone, whether they're from basketball or not, the development time, especially with big guys, all you're assessing is the graph still going up? Is there improvement being made all the time, even if that's small bits of improvement? And I guess in the past we had ruckman here, we've decided, rightly or wrongly, after 4 years that there was no more improvement and that they weren't... and that we decided to part ways. But for Bassie, obviously he comes in, he rucks against Craig Parry, who's one of the leading ruckmen in the SANFL and has been for a long time, big strong body, so it was a really good challenge for him. And the feedback from both the Eagles and from South was that both parties thought that Bassie lowered Parry's colours, so that was really pleasing and really exciting for Bassie to get some result for a lot of hard work. He's had injury troubles this year, and it's just pleasing for him to get a result like that. His challenge now is to maintain consistency and to do that week in, week out.
Is part of the impact that he has just as a result of his sheer physicality? He's come in as a mature body. He's not coming as an 18-year-old kid. He is able to impose himself physically on the contest.
No doubt, he's got that advantage, but you can have the physical attributes, but you still have to have the mental capacity and the want to be competitive, and often that's not the case with basketballers, but it's pleasing and it's interesting that Bassie is a real competitive beast, and so and we all know what how Matty Primer's played. That's exactly what he looks for in his ruckman, and that's why Bassie ticks those boxes. So, yeah, it was some good signs from him.
Yes, thanks for your time.
Good on you. Thanks, boys.
The ruck here with Craig Parrott. He's held his own in the strength department. Carey.
He was better. Now Horn. And he goes wide, and Bass, who's had a good, impressive, I must say, opening term. He goes back to the corridor. Little. Horn.
6-2 first quarter. They haven't added to that in the second. They're against the breeze. Bass, good climb. I reckon he's got a future, Daniel Bass. He's on the